Cold, snowy winters. Hot, stormy summers. Welcome to Earth's moodiest climates, the Köppen D group. These regions experience it all, from summer thunderstorms to bitter cold fronts. But what really makes them tick? And why do they only exist in the Northern Hemisphere? Stick around, you're about to find out. And hey, if you love geography, earth science, or just want to understand your own weather better, hit that like button and subscribe. It keeps great content like this coming your way. Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the microthermal or D group climates in the Köppen climate classification system. These climates are defined by strong seasonal contrasts, a warm enough summer to allow vegetation to grow, followed by a distinctly cold winter. That's right, in these zones, spring and fall aren't just vague transitions, they're full seasons that give life and landscapes time to shift and prepare. But there's way more going on than just seasonal variety, and these climates impact almost every part of life. Köppen D climates, also known as humid microthermal climates, are found only between latitudes 35 degrees north and 75 degrees north, and they cover vast stretches of North America and Eurasia. There's a simple reason these climates are absent from the Southern Hemisphere. There just isn't enough land at the right latitudes. The Southern Hemisphere is dominated by oceans at those latitudes, which prevents the kind of extreme continental climate you need to form a true D climate. And speaking of extremes, continentality is a defining feature here. That term refers to how far these regions are from the ocean, and the farther they are, the more extreme their temperatures become. Because the land masses are so broad in this part of the world, especially across North America and Eurasia, there's no ocean nearby to soften the climate. So, these places get wild seasonal contrasts. Even in places along the eastern coasts of continents, like New York or northeastern China, the influence of the ocean is limited because the prevailing westerly winds usually bring in air from the interior of the continent rather than from the sea. That's why winters in these places can still be so cold, even when they're technically close to water. D climates are one of the few places on Earth where you get a true four-season cycle. Spring arrives with budding plants and rising temperatures. Summer is often hot and humid, supporting a full season of plant growth. Fall cools things down and brings those vibrant red and orange leaves that define so many northern landscapes. And then there's winter, snowy, long, and cold, with temperatures often dropping well below freezing for weeks at a time. But the temperature swings are only part of the story. The weather in these climates is famously unpredictable. Because they lie in the zone of conflict between tropical and polar air masses, D climates frequently experience storms, cold fronts, warm spells, and sudden weather shifts. This makes the day-to-day forecast in many D climate regions a bit of a gamble. A sunny morning can quickly turn into a snowy afternoon. We divide D climates into three major types, mainly based on how hot the summers get and how long the winters last. They are Humid Continental, Hot Summer, DFA, DWA, Humid Continental, Mild Summer, DFB, DWB, and Subarctic, DFC, DFD, DWC, DWD. Let's explore each one. Let's start by looking at the hot summer subtype, classified as DFA or DWA, depending on whether it has a dry winter season. This subtype covers a large area of the eastern and central United States and smaller pockets in northern China and eastern Europe. Temperatures here often exceed 22 degrees Celsius or 72 degrees Fahrenheit in the warmest month, and the growing season can last anywhere from 140 to over 200 days, depending on how far north or south you are. Winters are snowy but not as harsh as farther north. Still, temperature regularly drop below freezing. Snow cover may last for weeks, and the winter energy demands remain significant. And rainfall is high, often summer-dominant due to thunderstorms and warm, moist air masses. These regions grow a wide range of crops, corn, soybeans, and wheat are staples, and they support massive livestock operations. Rich soils from glacial deposits, long growing seasons, and adequate moisture make farming incredibly profitable. However, energy needs are high. Long, hot summers mean air conditioning costs, and winters still require heating. Moving farther north, we enter the mild summer subtype, labeled DFB or DWB, depending on whether it has a dry winter season. This climate is generally found between 42 degrees north and 67 degrees north latitude. The warm summer humid continental climate covers a broad area across the Northern Hemisphere, including much of southern Canada, the northern United States, Central and Eastern Europe, Northern Asia. Summer temperatures stay below 22 degrees Celsius, but are still warm enough for plant growth. Winters are colder and longer, snowfall is heavier and lingers longer. Growing season shrinks to 90 to 130 days, meaning fewer crop options. Agriculture is limited to quick-ripening crops, grazing animals, and dairy farming. Think milk, butter, apples, cherries, things that can handle a bit of cold. This region is more forested, especially with conifers like spruce and fir, rather than deciduous oaks and maples common farther south. The weather is still changeable and unpredictable. Polar air masses dominate more often, and storms ride in on the polar front, making rain and snow frequent guests. Now we've reached the edge of habitable climates, the subarctic, which includes DFC, DFD, DWC, and DWD, divided on the basis of temperature and precipitation variations. These climates are found across Siberia, Alaska, and northern Canada, and they're the coldest climates on Earth that still support forests. Here's what you're in for: 8-month winters with average January temps as low as -50 degrees Celsius or -60 degrees Fahrenheit in places like Verkhoyansk, Russia. In fact, these are among the coldest inhabited places on Earth. Summers are short, usually just 1 to 3 months, but can surprisingly be warm, even reaching 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit on occasion, just enough for trees to survive. Still, agriculture is almost impossible, with growing seasons of only 50 to 75 days. The ground is often frozen year-round due to permafrost, a frozen layer of soil that causes construction nightmares and makes farming almost impossible. Annual temperature ranges are extreme, up to 64 degrees Celsius or 115 degrees Fahrenheit between summer and winter. The forest here is called the taiga or boreal forest, endless stretches of spruce, fir, and pine, adapted to the cold and low-nutrient soils. Human activity is minimal, limited mostly to logging, mining, and trapping. But for those who do live here, especially indigenous communities, the subarctic provides a unique way of life. Living in a D climate means adapting to extremes. In hot summer areas, people build around agriculture. The regions in the hot summer climates, like Midwest US and North China, are corn, soybean, and grains powerhouse. Whereas in mild summer regions, it's about dairy, fruit, and flexibility. And in subarctic zones, life slows down. Cities are fewer. People rely on forests, hunting, and in some cases, seasonal tourism. Subarctic lakes and forests create beautiful wilderness escapes. So, what have we learned? D climates are seasonal powerhouses. They bring dramatic changes throughout the year, from the blooming of spring to the frozen winters. They mostly exist in the Northern Hemisphere, and they vary widely from one place to another depending on latitude, distance from oceans, and local geography. D climates might be challenging, but they're also among the most fascinating and vital parts of our planet. They feed millions, test our endurance, and showcase just how dynamic Earth's climate can be. If this helped you understand the diversity and complexity of D climates, please tap that like button, subscribe for more educational deep dives, and share this with someone who loves weather or geography as much as you do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Keep watching and stay curious.